Bonjour à tous, j'espère que vous allez bien pendant cette période estivale. Voilà, nous vous avons prévu un programme qui retrace tout ce que nous avons partagé comme Connecting Day depuis le mois de janvier jusqu'au mois de juin. Vous allez voir ce soir donc une des journées que nous avons eues de telle sorte que vous puissiez la revivre et pourquoi pas trouver des partenaires et aussi élargir votre marché sur le pays qui a été cité ce soir. Hello everyone, I hope you are good during this summer. We are prepared for you, the connecting days that we started since January until June. So we hope that we will have a good program and you will enjoy this country that you will discover, and maybe you will have a lot of contact just to make business in this country. So we give you rendezvous after that just to be in contact with you. So have a good program. Bon programme et bon Connecting Day. Au revoir.
Bienvenue à Connecting Days, organisé par Continental Working et ses partenaires. C'est une plateforme qui vous apporte les meilleures relations d'affaires avec le continent africain. Hello and welcome to Connecting Days, an event organized by Continental Working and its partners. There to help you to create the best relationships with the African continent.
I'm the Vice President and co-founder of Friends of Nigeria. And once again, it's a pleasure to have everyone join and connect with us today. We'll be focusing strictly on Nigeria. I will not go into too much technicalities, but make a few presentations about Friends of Nigeria and what we do, because we have loads of experts already who will be doing justice to different sectors, different industries, such as agriculture. We have the legal part that we also covered. We have the creative sector focused on Nollywood. We also have the tax and finance part too. So we have loads of speakers already lined up for today. Will be taking us into the details as covered in the program brochure. But I'll be just giving a brief overview of Friends of Nigeria, why we do what we do, and all our engagements in the past few years. So Friends of Nigeria is an organization based in France, headquartered in France, and one of our major core goals is to build the largest network of Nigerian professionals in diaspora across Europe. So when you come into our network, we're made up of not just French investors, but we do have a very strong pool of Nigerians in diaspora, made up of three levels or three segments of members. We have the students who are probably doing the master's degree and also their doctorate degree across Europe. And we also have the professionals, and these are Nigerians working with multinationals, working with companies across France and Europe. And also we have entrepreneurs, so Nigerian businessmen and women all across. So those are diaspora rich, and we pride ourselves to be able to have quality Nigerian diaspora to be able to change, the brain gain narration and help sure that we have the brain drain narration and make sure we have a brain gain so that people who are back in the diaspora can contribute to the sustainable development of the country. Aside having a diaspora membership or a strong base, we also facilitate socio-economic relations between French and Nigerian stakeholders. I'll be going into more details about some of the things we've done in the past years. Also, beyond just focusing on France, we've been able to spread across Europe. So we also facilitate business exchanges for Nigerian and European stakeholders. We have strong affiliates with business groups in the Netherlands, in the UK, and some other European countries. And so we facilitate exchanges with respect to doing business in Nigeria and connecting them with the right partners locally. And also we collaborate on diplomatic engagements. An insight into, I just decided to narrow down what we've done in the past 3 years. And so I'll just start from 2018, just a brief insight into what we did in 2018 in terms of activities and engagements. One of the things we did was we participated at the Salon de l'Agriculture in Paris from the 24th of February to the 4th of March in 2018. And this Salon de l'Agriculture is France's biggest agricultural event. It holds for about 2 weeks every year, always launched or declared open by the French president. And it plays host to over 600,000 participants every year from across various countries all over the world, from Latin America to Europe to Africa. Lots of countries across the value chain of agriculture are always represented. And this particular edition, we worked with different partners and were able to get Nigerian states and private delegates to come to, meet potential partners in the field of agriculture. Also in the same year, we also featured at the European Union Migrants for Change Entrepreneurship Program, tagged Me for Change. And in that European funded program, we're able to also lend our expertise to be able to train African migrants who are vested in entrepreneurship. So in this project, we're able to train entrepreneurs from Africa across 4 countries, such as France, Italy, Belgium, and Germany. Also, in the same year, we partnered also and supported the Nigerian embassy, who at the event titled Nigerian Creative Arts Exchange. This was, done by the Nigerian ambassador, Dr. Modupe, in trying to showcase Nigerians' culture to the French community and ensure that stakeholders who are vested in the creative sector can find the right partners and also work with them. Also in the same year, in July, we're part of the visit of the French president to Nigeria, President Macron in Lagos. And at the meeting, he launched the France-Nigerian Investment Club. And that club is made up of 30 members including top French CEOs such as the CEO of Total, the CEO of BP France, and different groups. And also from Nigeria, we have strong members such as Aliko Dangote. We have, the Globalcom, Mr. Mike Adenoga, represented by Bella Disu, the daughter. We also have leaders, industry leaders such as Tony Lumilu and the rest of them. And so this is a club set up by the French president to galvanize resources and ensure that there is more business synergy between both countries. And the same year also, we had our annual event, Spotlight Nigeria 2018, which held in Paris. In 2019, we had also major activities as France and Nigeria. In the first quarter, there was a follow-up event by the France-Nigerian Investment Club, which I just described, that was set up by the President of France, President Emmanuel Macron. And in January, to be precise, January 21st, 2019, from the picture you can see, we're part of the meeting, and we gave a voice to diaspora to spotlight not just French companies doing business in Nigeria, but also showcase Nigerians who are based in France doing business in France. And some of these Nigerians have over 10 million euros annual turnover across sectors such as automobile, energy, digital communications, and the likes. Also, we had a trade mission to Nigeria. We partnered with Adepta. Adepta is made up of French investors that are vested in agriculture. And in this particular trade mission, we're able to lead members of Adepta in the agricultural sector to meet with local Nigerian companies in the agricultural sector from different sectors, such as dairy, also vegetables and all of that. And so we had B2Bs with them. We had matchmaking process to ensure that deals were signed. And the second quarter of 2019, we were able to offer business advisory support for interested French companies who were invested in setting up their companies in Nigeria. And on this note, we carried out research, and we also led them to meet with different public agencies in Nigeria to facilitate the setting up on the corporation of their companies back in Nigeria. The third quarter of 2019, we had our annual Spotlight Nigeria with over 100 delegates made up of top CEOs from both Nigeria and France, touching on both the public and private sector. The same year, we partnered with Leaders League, and we're able to represent Nigeria in an event that brought over 700 business leaders from France and across Africa. And we led the Nigerian delegation, and we partnered with them at that reputable event. And also following up on all our engagement in 2019, we also went back to Nigeria and we met with different stakeholders such as Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, NIPC, Nigerian Export Promotion Company to NEPC, and all of these stakeholders, we developed more strategic partnerships to align common objectives to be able to spotlight Nigeria more in the international market, but beyond that also to be able to advance the quest for doing business in Nigeria. Now in 2020, we had other engagement in 2020, such as the public-private engagement, which also entails, the Salon de Agriculture. Some of us know, this was probably the major event we had last year, just, in the heave of the corona pandemic. And this happened actually between 22nd of February to 1st of March. And so just before we had the outbreak of the pandemic, we're able to work with different stakeholders, such as the French government, especially the Ministry of Agriculture, also the French embassy in Nigeria, in Lagos and Abuja, also the Nigerian embassy in France, in Paris, also partners such as Business France, which is also a famous French public group that advances the interest of doing business with French companies, and also Adepta, a major group of French investors vested in agriculture. With all of these partners, we're able to draw our strength and also be able to bring over 60 delegates from Nigeria, cut across Ogun State, Oyo State, Ondo State. Those are states in the southwestern part of Nigeria, Benue State, Abia State, Kwara State, River State. And all some of these states, we had the governors of, for instance, the governor of Oyo State was around Governor Seyi Makinde. We had the governor of Kwara State and also the governor of Benue State in attendance. And we had over 60 delegates from both the public and private sector. And this, event featured B2B meetings, featured trade missions also to help the French stakeholders, be able to meet direct, authorities and leaders in those states and also in the private sector to see what deals could happen between them. As we speak right now, some of these engagements have led to concrete projects back in Nigeria, and we have some partnerships already brewing in the course of the year also due to all of these engagements, to which we're privileged to be part of as Friends of Nigeria. Moving on, we have partners all across France as Friends of Nigeria, focusing on different sectors, and from education to agriculture to energy. And some of these partners include Campus France, Business France. We have the Conseil Français, the Investors on Afrique, which is CIAN, and that's a group of French investors strictly focused on the African markets. We have the MEDEF. MEDEF is the foremost private-led group in France, made up of top private companies in France. Also Adepta, already mentioned about them, Evolene, energy company, and also the Chamber of Commerce, in Ile-de-France. Some of these are major partners in France, and with them, we're able to leverage on our expertise, on our network, to be able to ensure that they have a soft landing in France when it comes to projects, and also work with respective Nigerian stakeholders that they have interest to work with. So these are partners and some of them. And also back in Nigeria also, we do also have a strong leverage with different organizations made up of different chambers of commerce, such as the France-Nigerian Chamber of Commerce, CCI France-Nigeria, or otherwise known as FNCCI. We also work with the Port Harcourt Chamber of Commerce. We work also with the NACIMA, which is Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce in Industry, Mines, and Agriculture, Nigerian Investment Promotion Commission, Nigerian Exports Promotion Council. Some of these members, we also have the Nigerian Exports, Processing Zones Authority, and all of these are members with which we work with from time to time, aside other corporate members that we work with from time to time. It's very also important that we also quickly mention our annual events, which has also become a major foremost event for French companies, and not just French companies, but also European companies seeking to do business with Nigerian stakeholders. So it's Spotlight Nigeria, and we've had 4 editions so far, 2014, 2015, 2018, and 2019 respectively. And this event is an annual gathering where interested stakeholders seeking to do business across sectors in Nigeria, such as agriculture, digital sector, entertainment, real estate, education, health. We bring them together under one umbrella. The first day is always a day filled with plenaries, focusing on each sector's potential and seeing how synergies can come about. And the second day of Spotlight Nigeria every year, we do B2Bs. And this is where we get CEOs and industry leaders together to see each other and to be able to sign concrete deals. As we speak right now, we didn't have last year's session or last year's edition due to the pandemic, but we're already working towards a 2021 edition, which would be a virtual event. In due course, we're going to communicate that to our partners and to all interested parties. So please stay glued to our online platforms for you to get more information about that. But as we speak, we already have successful testimonials from the last edition in 2019. One of the energy companies that was signed up, from France, just got a deal running to millions of dollars with a Nigerian agency that was also participating. They also participated at the Spotlight Nigerian Conference in 2019, which held at Le Méridien Hotel Etoile Paris in the hotel. So this is just to let us know that if you're interested in doing business in Nigeria, you're seeking to meet the people who make decisions, both from the public and private sector. This event is an affluence point, a conference point where synergies are brought and deals are made. And so we'll be happy to engage with you on that regards. Some of these are some of our previous sponsors, from Schneider Electric to GFA Consulting to Nesco in Nigeria, to Vey and Greenelec. So these are some of our previous sponsors in the annual Spotlight Nigeria events that we do every year. TaxAid also is also one of our sponsors, and they would also be speaking today with respect to taxes and how to help foreign companies, be able to get that done, in a smooth process without too much bottlenecks in Nigeria. We also have previous exhibitors. On the first on the list, you'll see NEPSA. NEPSA is the Nigerian Exports Processing Zones Authority, and they have different free trade zones in Nigeria. And on this note, companies interested in manufacturing, setting up, companies in free trade zones area in Nigeria would do well to work with them. We've had Trace TV, come on board as partners. We also have the Nigerian Exports Promotion Council, Farm Center, a leading agri-tech firm in Nigeria also. Also, we have strategic partners, and some of them you already know from my previous slides. Some of them are made up of, different groups. We have CN, as mentioned before. We have the Embassy of Nigeria. We have XCB Sub-Saharan, which is a major consultant firm, also focused on the African continent. NIDCOM, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Business France, as mentioned, Business Day, a foremost news outlet in Nigeria. We also have the Chamber of Commerce, Ile-de-France, as mentioned, and so some of our strategic partners with which we we galvanize resources, we leverage in their partnerships to be able to ensure that the right parties come on board and ensure that deals are made between both countries to advance socio-economic development both in Nigeria and in France. And so here are contact details. If you go on our website, friendsofnigeria.net, you'd find more information about all we do. But not only that, also if you go on Spotlight Nigeria, also you'll find information about all that we're about when it comes to the events. And so I'm going to stop sharing my screen here, and we have our contact details there. By email, we also have an office headquartered in France. You have the address there, and also our office in Nigeria, in Abuja. So I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. Yes, so just let us know that all of these resources and all of these partnerships are what we do to be able to ensure that French companies interested in doing business in Nigeria find a safety net and they find a soft landing. So whether it's be a public, focused project or a private sector focused project, over the past few years, our team is made up of strong experts within the framework of doing business both in France and Nigeria. Our board members are also reputable French and Nigerian citizens who are experienced business owners with level of track record in different industries. So if doing business is in Nigeria, definitely you've come to the right place. Friends of Nigeria would be happy to work with you. So for us, like we mentioned in our last Spotlight Nigeria, it was about consolidating deals and not just talking. So whether you're trying to work in the agricultural sector, working in the health sector, we're able to provide the guidance that is needed. As you probably rightly know already, that when it comes to ease of doing business in Nigeria, Nigeria has leaped from 146 position to 131, and so that's about 15 places up according to the World Bank. So as much as there's still many hurdles to cross, and it's not a smooth journey as it were, but to let you know that the World Bank also feels like much has been done with respect to the present government and present public agencies who are doing a lot of work. And so from technology startups, when it comes to technology, entertainment, and all of that, you understand that the country is advancing. And that's not talking about the market itself. When it comes to over 200 million people, that speaks volume in terms of markets, in terms of potentials for your products, for your business, and for all the synergies you're looking at. And so during the course of the day, we do have many veterans in the industry across different sectors who we know personally also, and we've engaged in one form or the other, will be throwing specific spotlights and be placing a touch on each industry. You do well to listen to them. You do well to connect with them beyond today's event. And after the event today, I'll be happy to engage us on a more robust discussion, whether by chat or by email correspondence. So I want to say thank you once again for your audience, and I wish you a very productive engagement today as we seek to advance our quest of doing business in Nigeria. Thank you, everyone. Over to you, Dimitri.
And it's interesting to hear from Dimitri and also Abiodun about the work that has been done so far to get this event and also the work of Friends of Nigeria. And it's a pleasure. My name is Wilson Erumebo. I work as a senior economist with the Nigerian Economic Summit Group, which is basically an advocacy and a think tank organization. What we basically do, we engage the government on different policy areas. We provide advice, we do research, evidence-based advice and suggestions to the government on different reforms to ensure that we have a strong business environment, a business environment that is friendly to both to private sector investments, because we believe that that is what will take Nigeria to the next level. So in the course of doing that, we get to engage with several government agencies, development partners like the World Bank. We get to implement several projects, obtain grants from some of these institutions. We also do summits. We've done summits for 26 years. We just concluded the 26th Nigerian Economic Summit last year, November, which is basically a gathering of the key players in the economy, private sector and public sector, and even the academia as well, to discuss on the future of Nigeria and how to reposition the economy for private sector investment. So it's a pleasure for me to be part of this event and to see that there's quite a number of interest of people who want to do business in Nigeria, who wants to engage in one way or the other with the Nigerian economy. Yeah, so I would just briefly speak on the macroeconomic fundamentals of Nigeria, because of course, if you're to do business in the country, it's also important to understand the environment in which you operate, particularly from a macro economic perspective. So Abiodun has also highlighted some of those key points. The fact that we have a population of over 200 million people, 210 to be precise for last year, which is quite large. Nigeria is one of the, I think, among the top 10 largest countries in terms of population. Population growth is also quite high at about 3% per annum. In terms of GDP, Nigeria's GDP is somewhere around $410 billion. And of course, with the COVID pandemic, we had series of lockdown in April last year, which basically resulted to a decline in GDP growth. So we had a negative growth of minus 6.1% in the second quarter. In the third quarter, we also had a negative growth, which meant that the economy fell into a recession. So we had a minus 3.6% growth in the third quarter, which is more or less like an improvement from the second quarter, and simply because the government saw the need to open up the economy and sorry, there was a disruption. So which basically meant that the government had to open up the economy to, from the lockdown period, and businesses were able to, people were able to do business and all that. So that led to a somewhat improvement in the GDP figures, like just as we saw in the third quarter. So hopefully in the fourth quarter, we're expecting growth to still fall within the negative region, but somewhere improved or much better than what we recorded in the second quarter. So in terms of the structure of the economy, Nigeria has an economy that is predominantly dominated by services. So services account for about 53% of the economy. And then you have agriculture, which has about a quarter of the economy. And then you have industry. Industry also accounts for about 22-23%. So that tells you that Nigeria is more service-based and a lot more agriculture. Agriculture also is very important because it employs about 48% of the total labor force in the country. So there's this talk and this idea and motive to want to move away from reliance on agriculture and then moving away from reliance on crude oil as well, particularly when you look at the fact that oil accounts for, although just 9% of GDP, but when you look at export earnings, foreign exchange and reserves accretion, oil is very significant. So there's a talk about diversifying the economy away from the primary sectors, moving into the secondary sectors, and also the services as well, ensuring that there's more value added in the service sector. And this is particularly important, especially when we're talking about investments, because everybody, I mean, even the government quarters, there's the general notion that it is private investments that would get the economy to where it should be, not necessarily government driving some of the sectors, activities within the sectors. as we saw, in the early 80s and in the 90s as well. So there's the desire and intent to want to make the business environment friendly. And just like Abiodun pointed, Nigeria moved, about 15 places up on the World Bank Ease of Doing Business ranking a couple of years ago, from 145 to 131. Still not where the country should be, especially when you look at the potentials, but it signals that there is the commitment from the government. So the government has set up the Presidential Enabling Business Environment Council, which is a group of policymakers that within the government, that whose mission is basically to see how they can improve the business environment, attract more investment, simplify some of the processes, especially when it has to do with getting permits, issues relating to registration of businesses and supporting businesses to grow, government regulation of businesses. So looking at the regulatory environment, some of the legal policies and legal instruments that also needs to be changed. We've seen the passage of several laws that have opened up, different sectors, for business activities. So there's a whole lot of potential. From a trade perspective, we have a trade value of about $100 billion, dominated by exports, which accounted for about 57%. Of course, exports is still dominated by crude oil itself. Non-oil exports account for less than 10% of total exports, which also is a strong opportunity, because of course Nigeria plays a major role in West Africa. Nigeria's GDP is about over 70% of West Africa's GDP. Nigeria is the largest economy in Africa. So all this point to the fact that Nigeria has that key role to play, especially also in the light of the newly signed African Free Trade, area agreement, Continental Free Trade Area agreement. So all these show that there is so much potential. So at the NESG, one of the things we're doing is to see how we can get the government to implement some of the reforms that we highlighted, some of the ease of doing business reforms at a much faster pace, so that we can attract investment. Yes, we know that it's a journey, it's a process, it's something that will take time. We've seen commitment at different levels, even at state government levels, to want to implement some of these reforms. And so our main goal is to advocate and to engage government. So in the course of doing that, we get to meet with government officials on a regular basis. We organize forums, and events, and even at the summit as well, to keep the conversation going. We do research. We're quite heavy on research. In February, we will be launching a report which looks at the macroeconomic outlook. And if you want to be part of it, we can also share the link, because it's going to be virtual, which would define priorities for the economy in 2021 and beyond. So these are we are quite heavy on macroeconomic modeling as well, to provide evidence to whatever policy agenda we are, advocating for. So I would say in concluding remarks that the Nigeria is open to business. Yes, there are challenges and there's some risk, issues relating to insecurity, particularly in some parts of the country. There are also issues relating to foreign exchange, and of course, which came as a result of, which even was amplified as a result of the COVID pandemic, and especially the fact that crude oil price declined, and Nigeria was also among the countries that was hardly hit by both the lockdown and the fall in crude oil price. So so it's led to a situation where the external reserves, had continued on a declining trend. But more recently, we've seen accretion to the reserves as oil price has increased. So, but in summary, what we are also advocating for is complete and total diversification of the economy away from reliance of crude oil to explore opportunities across the different value chains, particularly in manufacturing. Also in the services sector, in the last couple of years, Nigeria has seen tremendous growth in ICT penetration, growth in businesses that provide ICT services, and we also have a very strong entrepreneurial spirit. We have a growing number of young Nigerians who are increasingly coming up with creative ideas on how to do business, on how to interact with the society. We've seen the development of the springing up of several web platforms, online platforms. We've seen also, ICT centers. There's a venture gardens group. So many of them, and this has also sparked interest of particularly investors in the US and in Europe. Putting some money behind some of these innovative ideas. Many Nigerians have gone to create, interesting and new businesses that have dominated different parts of the continent, whether it's Andela, whether it's Paystack, and many other businesses. So there's so much opportunities to be explored, even in the midst of the challenges that we are facing. And I would also, advise and urge people to take up some of these opportunities and also look at ways for which you can invest in the country in different sectors. There's so many sectors. From an incentive point of view, the government has also, there's several incentives like the pioneer status, pioneer industry status, which basically means that if you want to invest in an industry that falls under the pioneer category, you would have to, be exempted from taxes for a specified period of time. I think about 3 years. So you wouldn't pay corporate taxes. There are also incentives provided, for different sectors of the economy. And yes, the challenges are still there, especially when it comes to implementing some of these. But there are beneficiaries, that have received these incentives. And the spirit here in Nigeria is, amidst all the challenges, we keep forging ahead, we keep going forward. They've been, entrepreneurs that have created businesses out of nothing, and these businesses have dominated Africa and even have presence in different parts of the country. And we believe that as we keep going on, as much as even as NESG keeps engaging the government on different areas of opening up the economy and ensuring that we have a friendly business environment, we believe that Nigeria will thrive and will continue to play a key role in Africa and perhaps move beyond Africa to play a key role in the global economy. Thank you.
Honor. Right now, we're going to have a bit of a switch up. Honor will be talking on behalf of Nollywood as the CEO of the Nigerian International Film Summer Industry. Over to you, Mrs.
Good morning, everyone from Lagos. It's such a pleasure to be here at this time to talk about Nollywood. Of course, you know that Nollywood is a major sector, in the creative industry in Nigeria. And over the years, we have seen it grow organically, and we have seen a lot of impact of Nollywood in the Nigerian film and television space, both locally and international. I want to talk a bit because I have a background in distribution, and I have done a bit of international business as well. So I want to talk about Nollywood in terms of how it's traveling and how it's opening up business and opportunities especially within the continent of Africa and beyond. For example, in French-speaking Africa, you have a lot of followership and a huge consumption of Nollywood content. And that is why in recent years, you have seen a lot of dubbing studios opening up in Côte d'Ivoire, in Senegal, and of course, we also have dubbing studios in Paris. And a huge chunk of what they are doing is dubbing Nollywood films from English to French. And what it means is that because of the huge appetite and the huge demand for Nollywood content, excuse me, both for television and on demand, it necessitates, these huge investments into dubbing studios to be able to meet that demand. So we can say that in Francophone Africa, in French-speaking Africa, a lot of businesses, in a lot of channels, and within the audiovisual space have been sustained with content from Nollywood, from Nigeria. And I think that is very, very instructive because we've been able to overcome the language barrier, right? To be able to go into these other countries where English is not spoken, but yet because of localization, because of dubbing, our content is not is now being consumed. And also, very important to say that most times within the distribution projections, for return on investment, when producers are looking at how to make their money back, the localized version, the French dubbed version, for example, is actually not, is not in their projection. But we have seen that we've seen huge chunk of revenue coming in, right? Unexpected, unplanned for. But the opportunities exist and the opportunities continue to open up new revenue streams for producers, which is very, very good and interesting. Because at the end of when producers are making their projections on how to get money, first of all, that here in Nigeria we have a very big, at least our cinema industry is still growing and with huge potentials, and that is why you have company like Vivendi coming to, the French company Vivendi coming to open up theaters here in Nigeria, one in Abuja and already open, and then another one coming up in Lagos. So the cinema industry here is still very, very exploitable. There's huge and massive opportunity. At the moment we have about less than 100 screens. Because new cinemas have opened, so I don't have the exact numbers, but still less than 100 at the moment. But with this, we have seen people appreciating even local content. Nollywood recently, within this pandemic period, I think it was released in November, it's called Omogeto. It's grossing about 400 million naira, which is massive. Okay, so when producers invest or people who invest in film, when they come in to invest, they're actually not looking at this other international side, and that is where some of us play, to be able to open up our industry to international business, because locally they are self-sustained, right? Nollywood can be sustained by business that is happening locally in Nigeria. You can imagine a film just within Nigeria grossing 400 million. 400 million naira, which maybe in should be close to €1 million thereabout. So what we're trying to do, what we've been trying to do over the years, like launching the Nigeria International TV Summit in Paris, working with the French Embassy, is to open up our industry to international business, to let them know that, guys, there are other opportunities. This content is traveling, is being appreciated in, even in other languages. We've seen Nollywood going into other Portuguese, being dubbed in Portuguese, and of course French. So the opportunities are massive, and we are looking forward to an exponential growth in the next couple of years, where we'll begin to, especially with the OTT platforms that are coming up. If you look at Netflix also, from the ancillary side, you notice that a huge number of content from Nigeria is on Netflix, and they are being consumed and they are doing extremely well. So Netflix is taking Nigeria very seriously because apart from the commercial viability of Nollywood films on the platform, it's also, there is a huge appetite for it as well. So I think this will be my opening comments. I don't know if how many more minutes I have, or if I need to take questions. Hello?
5 minutes, yeah.
Okay, I have 5 more minutes. All right, thank you. So within the 5 minutes that I have, I think I will also would want to highlight the opportunities for investment locally in Nigeria in terms of production. People who are looking, because like I already mentioned, content from Nigeria is quite commercial, and there's a huge demand for it. There is a huge appetite for it. So with the Nigeria International Film Summit, which we hold every year in the US during the American film market, and also in Paris every year, what we've tried to do is to help connect potential investors, financiers, and people who are interested, in doing business in Nigeria, helping to connect them with the right people. Because we found out that, a lot of people really understand that there are potentials in Nigeria, but they really can't figure out, how they can go about this. So over the years, I'm excited. I'm happy to say that we've seen a lot of traction between French and Nigerian companies. We've seen French companies. I'm currently working on an IPT project, and our major partner is a French company delivering about 30 channels, about 30 linear channels to, for this service. And I've also seen other partnerships being birthed between French and Nigerian companies within the audiovisual space. And so the point I'm trying to make is that there are credible people and companies that, that can be trusted, that you can work with locally, either in the area of production or even in offering technology and solutions, especially within the digital space, because this is a new space that is opening up and there is a lot of attention, there's a lot of investment. So we have our strengths. In the area of production, for example, still talking about Nollywood, we have stories that resonate across Africa with, in spite of the language barriers. Our stories resonate among French-speaking Africa. Our stories resonate in English-speaking Africa, and of course, the diaspora. So we have that going for us. So it's very important for those who want to do business in Nigeria to also with Nollywood, to also understand that the commercial viability of Nollywood across Africa. We've seen millions of dollars and euros raised every year, in distribution efforts, because like I said, I've worked in distribution. So I understand some of the revenue potentials, or rather not potential now, but kind of revenue streams that we have seen coming in from Francophone Africa, and of course even from France, because of the demand for Nollywood content. So there are huge potentials either in the area of production. Another area also is post-production. We at this point in time, because at the summit, we are always pushing for our producers to make sure that they are producing with international version. And for you to do international version, there are certain things that has to be in place so that it can be localized into any language, can be localized into French, to Swahili, to Spanish, whatever language it is. So there is huge opportunity also for post-production studios to make inroads into Nigeria. And I'm also happy that we also have dubbing studios that Hiventi, which is the French company, has also established a studio in Nigeria where they are localizing from, I think, from French to English. So this tells us that there are potentials. If Hivanti can come to Lagos and open up a studio, I think there's a whole lot more that, you know, Nigeria and Nollywood offers the world. I think I want to stop here now. Thank you.
Eh bien, merci d'avoir participé à cette réédition des Connecting Days estivales. Nous espérons tout d'abord que cette réédition vous a plu et nous vous invitons à prendre contact avec nous pour toute question, mais également si vous souhaitez que l'on mette votre pays en avant. Thank you for attending this re-edition of the Connecting Day. We hope that you will enjoy this event and you find the information you needed. Please let us know if you have any questions and also if you would like for us to advertise the country. We hope to see you soon. Have a nice day.